Hi everybody, this is Coffee and this is my channel, which is Koffee Spills the Tea. And so today is January 23rd, 2025. It's very cold out. I don't know where you're at, but where I'm at, it's very cold. Colder than normal, which is why you're seeing me wear these like really nice kind of snuggy type sweatshirt type of things because it's really cold here. And I even have a space saving, or I would guess an energy saving hack that I like to use as well because I work from home and I will tend to be kind of worried about like my electricity costs. So I have a space hack for that. Or I have a hack for that so I can save a little bit of money. And I'll share that with you today. Because today I want to just kind of talk a little bit about how things, just a few minutes on like what we can do to save money. We are going into uncertain times. So before I go any further, just remember to subscribe to my channel and then hit that notification button so that you can see when I upload videos. And then please like this video as well, and that does help my algorithm as I try to grow my channel. I am coming to you from my cell phone right now, from a weird place because I am also interviewing for a job. As I told everybody, I am looking to move overseas, looking to move away. Pew! It's been in the works. I mean, I would say it's been in the work for about 20 years, but it's really been in the works in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 months. I got my passport, and I would say it took about almost 2 months. It took about 6 weeks for my passport to come through. And before that, I had to get my certificate of live birth, so I had to go to the vital statistics office for the state where I was born and request for them to send it to me because I didn't have a copy of my birth certificate. And in order for you to get a passport, you have to have an original birth certificate. So having said that, that is going to be one of my things that I'm going to recommend that everyone do. Whether or not you're moving overseas or whatever, I think it's going to be important these days for you to have a copy of either your birth certificate or have a passport available. Because I do think that, as the new administration have said, that we're going to have to prove who we are. Not just, and yeah, sure, like we're Americans, but I really think that we're going to have to start proving that we're actually citizens, that we are actually born here, that we're from here. And so a certificate of live birth is going to be one of the ways to do it. And having a passport is the other way, because in order for you to get a passport, you have to have produced a certificate of live birth, which you then send to the State Department or wherever you're getting your passport. You put the application together and you include your certificate of live birth, your actual original certificate of live birth. They will send it back to you, and they don't just put it in regular mail. It came back through like DHL, so it was secure coming back to me, and I have since put that away. And then a few days later after that, I got my passport. And that's how it works. So if you want to get a passport, which I think is awesome to have, because it's an additional government issued identification that proves that you are a citizen of the United States. And you can use it when you're going in to vote, which I highly recommend. You can use it for if you go to the bank, you want to open up a bank account, or you want to prove who you are, you can show that. Because nowadays, I really do think that we are going to have to show that we're not just people who are just like, here, living here in the United States, but we have to actually prove that we are citizens. This is no different than when, I just hate to go back to this point, but when we had slavery, right? And then there was like an element in the North where if you were a slave and you made it to the north and you were free, or if your massa gave you papers and freed you, you would have to carry those papers with you at all times. Now, I'm just making a comparison, but they understood the assignment back then. Carry your papers, because you never know when you're going to need it. So, I just think it's important for people to be aware of this. I will not just be walking around with my passport willy-nilly all day, but I do work from home, so if anybody ever needs anything from me, or if there's something I need to prove, I have my birth certificate, I've got my passport, I have my social security card, I have my real ID, driver's license. And that would be another thing that you should be doing if you haven't done it by now, is get your real ID. Because I think in March of 2025, everybody needs to have a real ID by then. Do not wait until the last second, because it's just going to back everything up. And then you're going to end up missing dates, and that could be a problem. So I would do that now. Do that sooner than later. So these are things that for me are giving me peace of mind to like have these things knocked out. And as I'm always advocating, is that we as Black women need to have our own space mentally so that we can kind of like keep ourselves like right and tight, right? So it's going to be important for you to have those papers around you, and to make sure that you can do that not only for yourself, but for your family members. I've been gently pressing my nephew to please go and get, his baby's passport, get his baby's birth certificate, his baby's passport, because not unfortunately, I love his wife, but his wife is Latina, and I get the feeling that her side of the family is a little sketchy as far as like where their origin of birth. And so that may then come back onto his family. So I'm like, hey, to be on the safe side, everyone get your passports. And you've already got your birth certificates, because I know you've used it before to go traveling and whatnot. But you should also get a passport. Get a passport, because they've just been doing cruises and whatnot. And I was like, this is the time, because if something happens and you don't have your paperwork on you and you're all three traveling, like my nephew, he'll be okay. But his wife may not, if she doesn't have papers on her. And their baby, who, the baby would stay with the mother, they'd be gone. And from what I've been seeing from different like little clips and whatnot, like there have been like ICE people like along streets and whatnot, just kind of stopping and pulling people over, which means that that they're doing, they're just kind of looking and they're saying, okay, you look like somebody that isn't from here, pull over. Never thought that I would see that actually happening like in plain sight and being acceptable, but apparently this is what's happening. So just have your peace of mind for yourself, for your family, for everything. I suggest at the very minimum, you would want to just Google your state, like Michigan Bureau of Vital Statistics. Google it, and then once you do that, then you want to contact them, whatever state that you were born in, and ask them for the like, they'll have you fill out a form and probably pay some money. Pay it. It's probably gonna be $5 or $10, and then they will send it to you. Okay. And maybe it's good to get one or two. Put one, if you get a couple, get two of them, two originals. You take one, bring it to a safe deposit box, and keep it at the bank. Or if you have a fireproof safe, put it in your fireproof safe. Right? Just be on the safe side. And the other one you just keep with you at all times, just in the event. Because again, mentally, you need to find a safe space. mentally so that you can be okay. So I got that kind of like all narrowed down, and everything is kind of like copacetic on that. Again, I have my job interview because, as I have said before, if you truly are wanting to leave the country and you are trying to, if you're retired, that's great. If you have your own house and you own it and you're able to sell it and gain money that way and have a good chunk of money that you can then put into a bank account and say, hey, I can, or in a bank account or an investment fund, a mutual fund, ETF, some anything, whatever. Consult your, and again, disclaimer, I'm not a professional on any of this. You want to consult with a financial, like you want to have a financial consultant, somebody that you've hired that can look out for your financial best interests and help you to figure out like how to get your finances together. And then go and consult, pay the money, and have them help you. Okay. But definitely have that plan in place to where you can decide like how are you going to have your money, how are you going to have your finances set up. For me, I don't have a savings really. I don't have very much of a 401 k. I have a Roth IRA. I think I have like a 401k, just one, but it's very small because I was only at the job for like 18 months and then they started laying everybody off. This is the tech field. This is how it works. Whatever. And I have a CD, which isn't very much, but whatever. But I will say, as I have said before, I had made it like 17%. I got a 17% rate of return on my Roth IRA. I just still can't get over like how well it performed in 1 year. Like, wow. So that is my plan, is when I do set up regular work where I know what my income is going to be roughly, is to be able to take a certain amount of money and put that into that Roth, because it's just doing really well. And I don't expect anything less. It has done well for me over the years, considering I haven't put any money in it. It's just really doing well all by itself. And I'm just like, wow, I need to add to that. So if you don't have some type of way of saving money, please do. Please do. I started taking stock of everything that I'm spending money on, and like my storage, which I've talked about over and over again, that is coming to an end as of February 1st. Woohoo! So I plan to finish that up February 1st. I will not have one of my two storages, one of them, but it's the most expensive one. That will be gone. Another thing that I did, these are things that I'm talking about: saving money, peace of mind. Because what's peace of mind is being able to know that financially you're okay. You want to make sure you're okay. So I believe very strongly that if you have a pet, that you should have pet insurance. Paying for your pets here in the United States is very expensive. And one thing that I think is just awful is if you're watching a pet suffer. A pet is a family member, period. And having to make a decision on whether or not to take care of that pet or to like buy groceries is just kind of like, it's just blows my mind. Like, you shouldn't have to make that decision. So you get insurance. And I had to evaluate my insurance for my dog. One of my dogs, I have two dogs. But one of my dogs, I got insurance through, I don't even know if I can say it, so I won't say it. But if somebody asks in the chat, in the comments below, if you ask, I'll put it in the comments. But I had insurance I have two different insurances, one for each dog. The one that I've had since 2015, she has insurance. I love that insurance. I had a second dog. I bought him. I adopted him. He was a senior dog. I didn't know it. I got insurance through that company. I took care of every one of his medical needs. They covered everything. They covered when he got very ill, when he was very sick, and I was taking him from vet to vet to vet. They took care of all that when he passed away. They took care of it and helped me to find a vet that was a mobile vet that could come over and help to transition him very peacefully in the backyard in a very peaceful way. It was really sad. And they paid for that. And they even sent a sympathy card. And then they helped me to end his insurance. And I thought, they are so good. And I don't need to share their name because they no longer do pet insurance. So they are just phasing it out, and they're just honoring the dogs and cats and lucky animals that are still on them. But the insurance I have with dog number 2 that I got 2 years ago, it's been 26 months. And in 26 months, I have gotten 16 cents of reimbursement. And I've been paying like $60 a month off of that one. And they progressively have been increasing it over time. But $60 a month. And my reimbursement was 16 cents off of almost $400 worth of bills that I submitted. And I tried to submit the first year, and they were like, no, we don't cover that, we don't cover that, we don't cover that, we don't cover that unless the vet like has specifically prescribed it. We don't cover that, we don't cover that. Ended up having nothing covered the first year. And it was very debilitating. But the second year I was like, okay, I know what they're gonna say they can cover and what they can't. So I submitted my bills. And then they were like, oh, you have to do it within 90 days. I didn't read the policy, so I didn't know. My other dog's policy, you have the year to do it. And so I was just like, I didn't know. And they were like, oh, we'll give you a one-time exception for that. And the second one was that my dog had gotten into a fight with another dog. That dog bit him, and it was painful. And I didn't realize it right away either. And by the time I found out, I was like 12 hours away visiting family downstate, and I had to take him to a vet downstate, down in the south where my family's from. My parents, both my parents are from the south, so I had driven and took the two and a half day trip to drive out to see them. And I got a bill, and I submitted that bill. They paid 16 cents of that particular bill because they're like, oh, you have a deductible, $200. Okay. So the second bill, they're like, well, we're not going to pay it because, you sent it in too late. And I said to myself, at this point, it's just excuse after excuse after excuse. And I know how we all know how insurance is. They're not going to pay for anything unless they are being dragged kicking and screaming into paying for it. And I was just like, you know what? Not worth it. I can take that $60. What I can do is I can take $200, put it into a savings account that has a little bit of interest on it. Then I can take the $60 a month and put it into that account. And here's what's going to happen. I only need to draw down from that account if my dog has an emergency. So the other stuff that he's got to go to, I can just pull that out of my account, my bank accounts, the ones I normally use for whatever. But if he has some kind of issue, like he gets bit again or whatever, or gets sick, I can go to the emergency fund with the savings account that has interest on it. That's going to save me money. So when I called them yesterday to cancel, because there was no way to do it from the website, which was crazy, then they're like giving me all these excuses on like why I shouldn't cancel. And I said, let me tell you about my other insurance. And you tell me if you're going to be able to match that. And if you can match that, I'll stay with you. But if you cannot match that, then I need to cancel. So I ran them through what my other insurance did for my dog that had passed away 2.5 years ago, just before I got the new one. And I was like, y'all gonna do that? And they're like, we're gonna issue that. We're gonna help you cancel this policy. And I was like, okay, that was easy. Like, okay, does it save me money? In the sense that yes, it does, because over the long haul, it saves me money because I'm just throwing money, good money after bad, for insurance. And if you plan on doing what I'm going to do, which is put $200 aside, which is like the deductible, and then just putting in the amount of money that you would normally pay to the insurance people, put it into the interest-bearing savings account. Let it gain a few dollars, pennies here and there. Now my money will make money until it's time for me to need it, and then when I need to draw down from it, the money is there, and I don't have to go and beg them for it. That's saving me money. And so that's what I'm talking about when I mean save money. When I'm like saying, hey, here's some tips on what you can do to save money. And of course, when I save money, I have peace of mind. I mean, already I can see my account is like really feeling like it's like, you know, because I'm doing things, positive things that are moving me towards making sure that I'm okay. So yeah, so let me go back to my interview. So tomorrow I have an interview. It is for teaching because I am a teacher. I'm in IT, I'm a teacher, and I'm trying to work on setting up contracts. And I'm trying to set up 1099s, like contracts, just basically independent contractor work. So I don't want to be a W-2 employee, because if I'm a W-2 employee, you really can't be remote unless you get permission to be remote. Because if you are remote working in another country, if you go to that other country to live, you have to report to that country, how are you making your money? And then that is going to get back to the United States, and they are going to need to know because they're going to tax you. And you have to be able to make sure that you're able to, you know, you're going to get taxed by the country where you're going, and you're going to be taxed by the country that you're from, the United States. No matter where you go in the world, you always will owe the United States. Okay. So if that's the case, then you cannot be moving abroad and just like saying, okay, I got a remote job. You know, you're still getting a 1040 at the end of a W-2 at the end of the year, and they're not going to find out. They're going to find out, and then they are going to be subject to the laws of that country. So you need to get permission, or the better yet, or I don't know if it's better yet, but the other option is to go and get a contract, hopefully a long-term contract. And there are plenty of virtual assistant companies. Look it up online. There are some virtual assistant companies where you can work from anywhere. I have a couple. You can Google. There's a couple. There's I wanted to say it's called VeriFast. V like Valerie, E, R like Robert, A, F like Frank, A, S like Sam, T like Tom. VeriFast. So they are a call center representative company. And you work like really weird hours. They're like overnight hours. I think it's like something like oh no, they're a call center. There's a second one that's like you work really weird hours. Oh, it's called Wish Up. It's called Wish Up. So I make it like wish on a star. So I'm wishing on a star. Wish Up. And up is like up. So Wish Up. It's a virtual assistant company. They will pay for you to come for training. And they will train you on how to be a virtual trainer. Or a virtual assistant, rather, not a virtual trainer. Virtual assistant. It is a full-time job, and you are doing basically 8-hour days, 9 hours a week. So there's not any flexibility or freedom. You are working you have to slot out 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. You get an hour for lunch. And the times are Monday through Friday. You'll either be working a 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. shift, or you'll be working a 9:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. shift. So they're going to give you all the equipment. They're going to fly you in. They're going to take you for training. Look them up. It's called wishup.com. Or it's Wishup, but I think you have to go to wishup.com. I can't remember. Google it. So I think they pay somewhere like $18 an hour or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But look them up and see. Now, for me, I'd be like, oh, you know what? Like if I lived in Europe, right? And I'm living in a place with a 6-hour time difference, then instead of it being 9:30, it's 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. It's like 3:30. It's 3:30 in the morning. That's, I mean, 3:30 in the morning until, what is it? You have to work for 9 hours till like 12:30 in the afternoon. So that would be my shift if I was like living in Italy, which is where I want to go. So for me, it'd be like a little palatable if I want to be a virtual assistant and I want to work 5 days a week. You know, that's kind of early, 3:30 in the morning, but I could probably do it. I could do it. I'm sure they're going to give you the breaks. I can power nap my breaks, and then by the time I get to lunch, I get my hour for lunch. I can like go in and I can do like a 45-minute nap and then get up and do the last 15 minutes. I can like just do a quick jumping jacks, maybe a couple kettlebells, and then just scarf down some food and then get back to work. But it is a way for you to make some money. It is full time, and I think like a month or something, they'll let you know. Within 2 weeks to a month, they'll let you know if you're going to interview. And so if you're just like, look, I just want to get out, I want to get a job, I want to save up money, yeah, then sure, do it. The other one I gave you, which is VeriFast, that's a call center rep. I believe that one is much more flexible. And that's like if you want to earn extra money on the side. So you can do call center rep. And I think you get to choose your hours and whatever. But Google it. Look them up. These could be ways for you to have some extra money. So, yeah, I guess I'm not just talking about saving money, but like how to make money as well. So if you decide you want to move overseas, you actually have that option because you can take a work from anywhere job, like those virtual assistant jobs. You can work from anywhere. They're going to give you a 1099 at the end of the year. You need to go to your tax accountant and figure out how to declare everything and how to write off your taxes and everything. Because the other good thing with one of the few good things about our U.S. tax laws is that like all the deductions that you used to be able to take as an employee, you can no longer take. But if you're a 1099, then you have more deductions. You can actually take a lot of deductions. Like I can deduct my office space, and then it will ask me, what TurboTax will ask me something along the lines of like, how much do you pay for electricity? And then I can go in and I can look up my electric bill and like just average out what I make or add up what I paid for the year, and it will then calculate, well, based on the 400 feet of space that I can legally like put on my taxes, this is how much electricity is allotted to that space. You can deduct that. I can deduct my pens and whatever. I do have a work phone and I have a home phone. I can deduct my work phone. I do have 2 internets because I work remote, and so my internet for my work is different than the internet that I use for my home. And I can deduct out my internet that I use for work. So there are things that you can deduct. But again, you need to go and talk to your accountant and find out like what kind of tax breaks you can get so that you can write off your taxes. This is another way you can save some money. You cannot just open up a business and then do nothing with it and then at the end of the year say, oh yeah, that was my business. Because you don't have any income coming through. So you can't really like do taxes for a business where there's no money coming in and out of it. That doesn't make sense. And you can't just take your own money and then just like put it into a checking account every month and be like, yeah, that's my money. Because then they're going to be like, where's that money coming from? Then you have to have the show flow of traffic or show the flow of money, because ultimately if somebody's paying for your services, then they're going to take that deduction. So it's all connected. Be careful on how you set up your companies. Make sure you set up your companies. Make sure it's legit. It's providing a service. If you decide you want to set up an LLC or whatever. I have decided I'm going to LLC my name. So, Yeah, I'm LLCing it. So I can, every time I work, I can, like, no matter what I do, I can get paid for it. Um, Other things that I have been working on to save money or to make money, one or the other, just like juggling balls, is back when they started talking about tariffs and started talking about like the price of things going up, and they talked about stockpiling things quickly. So I have frozen fruits in little like bags that I purchased already, so they're already in the refrigerator. I suggest that you get canned vegetables. Here's what people are just like, oh, canned, ugh. But here's what: when vegetables are harvested, they're immediately going to can it and seal it, so it's going to stay fresh, and it'll stay fresh for longer. So, you know, save money. Like, get the canned vegetables. Is it like getting the fresh vegetables straight from the vine or whatever? No, because it's still in. They juice it, and they add the juice so that it'll not dehydrate or whatever, but it's still fresh, like as in edible and fresh or whatever. So I have a bit of that, but I also went and got coffee, and a lot of coffee. So I have a lot of coffee, and you can get on Google or ChatGPT or whatever, and you can see what's the best way to save your coffee to make it last longer. So I've done that. I have toilet paper. I have a lot of toilet paper. So I had a lot of toilet paper in storage, which I had forgotten about. And as soon as I found out I had all of that in storage, originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll just give it away to my family members. And I was like, why would I do that? It's crazy. This is my toilet paper, and toilet paper might come in short supply at some point. So I had Amazon was sending me toilet paper, and I was paying this monthly fee for them to send it every month. I just stopped it. So I mean, how much money am I saving? Lots of money. Just paying like $35-$40 for them to send me like a bunch of toilet paper that would last. But I've got a lot of toilet paper because it was from the pandemic. Pandemic toilet paper. So, check around and see what you got. I also have a lot of cleaning supplies. And here's what you can do is just look around your house. Here's what they say about one man's trash is another man's treasure is so true. You can sell things that you aren't using anymore, you don't need, etc., etc. I will say that you should be safe, because if you're going to go on Facebook groups and whatever, just be safe and careful. Like, I would have a meetup place, like maybe in a police parking lot or something like that, or in a public parking lot, like maybe at a grocery store or something. If somebody has to come to your house, then just proceed with caution. Have someone else there. Make sure you have your Ring cameras on, that it's active. They can see your Ring camera when they come up to your door, etc., etc. Try to verify who they are before they come. Make sure it's not a scam. Do not talk to anybody that says, I can pay you with a cashier's check. Send the materials, and here's the address, and then give me your bank account information, and I'll send you a cashier's check. Oh, don't do that. What I do when I'm trying to sell things, which I'm going to sell some things, I think, in the next week, I'm just going to my Facebook group for my neighborhood. And I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm just kind of raising some rent money. I have some things here, some things I've never even taken out of the box. Is anybody interested? This is what I'm selling it for. DM me. And I'll have people DM me. And it's my neighborhood, and I've been active in those neighborhood groups. So I know them, they know me. It seems a bit safer. Something happens, I can say, hey, Kathy Smith 271 came to my house, said that she was going to buy my cart. Then she got to my house and beat me over the head and took the cart anyway. Okay, Kathy Smith, whatever, 173, whatever. Okay. But be careful when you're doing that. But you can sell stuff. So here's what. I've got like boxes and boxes of cleaning supplies. I'm not going to use all of them. I already know that because I'm moving, and I'm not going to bring cleaning supplies with me overseas. That's crazy. So what can I do? I can probably sell it. Sell it for good profit. I'm just waiting for the prices of things to go up so that I can then turn around and say, hey, I've got like these like big cans of Lysol, like however many ounces of Lysol, unused, and sell it for like maybe $10 a can. And then I've got like, I don't know, 20 of those. And I could raise money that way. So then just look and see if there are things that you can sell. Because you never know. You never know. There could be things that I mean, like, I also found jewelry that I had thought of that I hadn't even like worn. Like, I know gold is worth good money now, so I could potentially sell that jewelry if I get to the right person. I would never go to a pawn shop, never, never, never. But there could be a way for me to be able to make a profit off that. We'll see. Yeah. So all these things I will know as I'm bringing things home and just saying, okay, things are coming from storage. This I'm going to sell right away. These things I'm going to trash, and these things are going to come with me when I move overseas. And these things need to be donated. So I've made a plan for that as well. I will let you all know how those things go as I'm selling things. But it's a good way for you to kill two birds with one stone. I make a little money, and I get to declutter. And I'm always about try to declutter if you can. Declutter, declutter, declutter. Get rid of the clutter. And if you could do that, and I think you now can kind of clear your mind and you find that safe space in your head where you have calmness. Self-care, right? It's all about self-care. Okay, so I've got that. Then another thing I did that I purchased. Remember, I'm still on what did I purchase? Groceries. I got eggs. Where I live, you can get a 30-pack of eggs. And whenever they had a sale for 30 packs, I would go out and buy them. And they were ranging between $3.99 for a 30-pack to $5.99 for a 30-pack of eggs. And then I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is something like that. I ended up with quite a few eggs. And I said to myself, well, let me just look this up. Because I saw a video where some guy said, hey, yeah, you could just take those eggs and put them in a freezer. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. So I looked it up. As it turns out, you actually can put eggs in the freezer, but not with the shells. So what they said is that you should do is crack that egg and just put the eggs into a freezer container that's airtight. So I cracked all like 200 of those eggs. I think it was like 200. It took like a good half hour to crack all those eggs, and to label them according to the dates that I purchased them. And so I ended up with like 2, 4, 6, maybe 8 containers, something like that. And I put them in my freezer. So what you do, let me finish. So you crack them, and then you put the yolks and whatever, everything into the container. Then you take a little bit of salt, and you just dump just a tiny bit, like that, okay? Not the Epsom salt where you like have the pour, but where you have like the little tiny holes, and you just shake, 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 and then you just lightly beat the eggs just a little bit, and then put it in that airtight container, close it good and tight, and put it in the freezer. And they said if you do that, eggs will last up to 6 months in the freezer. So I was like, okay, great. So I have all these eggs that are in the freezer. I only have like maybe a dozen eggs that are sitting out in the kitchen right now. And I don't eat eggs every night, or every morning rather. I will be at some point, but until then, I've got all these eggs in the freezer. And then I went um, 2 days ago to I checked the store to see what is this 30 pack of eggs going for. Now I remember during the pandemic you couldn't even find them. But when you did, when the pandemic was over, of course, and due to things and it isn't about just the cost of inflation. We really have a virus that's going around, and it's hitting these birds pretty hard. And I'm going to tell you why I know. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do so that you can see when we're having these outbreaks with these birds. So what did I do? I went to the store to check and see what is the price of this 30 pack, which I think was averaging somewhere around $7.99 back in the day. It was $11.99 for a 30 pack. And I just had to laugh because I was like, I don't even have to worry about it. Because I've got eggs for days, probably weeks, probably months. Because I'm going to ration that. Now that I know, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm rationing that. And then just take a couple eggs out at a time. I'll thaw it, and I'll just take them out a little bit at a time and just cook them a little at a time. And have them here and there and everywhere. They're in an airtight container. They'll be okay. Okay. So, how do I know what I know about eggs? I don't watch the news. I don't have a television. So I don't know what's going on with the news. How did I find out? Let me tell you. I am on Facebook. Now, granted, somebody has hijacked my Facebook page. So I had to go and I had to create a whole new Facebook page with a different phone number, and I had to start all over again. It sucks. But all of you live in a state that most likely has rural areas. You need to go to Facebook pages, just start Google, or not Googling, but just go into Facebook and just type in chickens. Okay? Trust me. Chickens. And what's going to happen is all those chicken Facebook groups where people belong in the community, in these farm communities, belong to Facebook groups that deals with their chickens. And these people love their chickens. I've seen them walking their chickens, hugging their chickens, playing with their chickens, but they're also very serious about the eggs that come from their chickens. And what I had seen in the last 2 or 3 months, because I've been a member of these chicken Facebook pages for, I would say, months, is that a lot of them were saying that they're experiencing this avian flu. And they had to cull the herd. This is how I know what cull the herd means. They have to kill the chickens. There's inspectors that are coming out, because when you have chickens, you have to register your chickens with the state, and then the state's going to come out. Excuse me, I have to move my space here a little bit. Then the state's going to come out. They're going to inspect. And since there's this avian flu coming out, I suspect that the inspectors are coming out to inspect people's chickens. And what I have seen is that a lot of people are reporting that their chickens are testing positive for this avian flu, and they have to kill all the chickens. Then not only do they have to kill all the chickens, they have to sanitize everything. So the whole chicken coop has to be cleared out. Then they have to scrub everything down, and then they have to start over. And this is what's costing them money, because they have to go out and find chickens that don't have avian flu, and then they have to start all over again and get a rooster and whatever. It's going to take time. And some of them are saying, I bet you this is something that the government's done and that we don't have avian flu. Well, look, here's what. If your chickens are dying like that, then yeah. And some chickens are dying, literally, they are freezing to death. Climate change is real. Chickens in the South can't handle these chickens or this weather. They can't handle it. And so what's happening is that I have seen people just saying, like, they're just beside themselves because they hate the fact that their chickens have literally frozen to death. And I've been looking at these pictures of chickens that have frozen to death. Now, I belong to Facebook pages all over the United States because I want to know what's going on with other chickens all around the United States. What's happening in California? People have chicken coops out there. People are like, what are we going to do? Like, how can we, like, what are we going to do? And some people are like, you're going to have to release them and hope for the best. And then somebody actually, like, and I thought they were making a joke, but somebody said, I do this. And then they showed a picture of the chicken wrapped with newspaper. And I was like, are you talking about making a chicken kebab? This is so inappropriate. But I didn't because I'm not there to, like, comment on people's chickens. I'm just there to, like, look. And as it turns out, they were saying, hey, if you take your chickens and you wrap them in newspaper and then you take some, like, rubber bands or some twine, then you can take those chickens and wrap them up and you can put them in your car and load up your car and take your chickens with you. And so there are people in California that are going out there with newspapers and papers and just rolling up their chickens in this paper and then wrapping them up and putting them in their cars and leaving with the chickens to escape the fire. Some people have lost their chickens. Some people are doing that, and some people are saying, hey, I live not very far from you. We're not in the fire zone. Bring your chickens to us. So that is disrupting. There's a supply chain issue that is affecting chickens, which means they're also affecting chickens if you buy chicken in general. And I buy chicken because my dogs have to have chicken with, like, poached chicken with their dinner. And so I have to buy chicken breast as well. So what have I been doing? Of course, yes, whenever chicken's on sale, I buy that stuff in bulk on sale. I take it out. I put it into freezer bags, make sure all the air is out. I put them in the freezer. And I've done that too, and that has saved me a lot of money. Because right now, chicken is going as high as like $5.89 a pound. I think. Is it a pound? I think it's a pound. And so what am I doing? I had bought a lot of chicken ahead of time. And I also started buying boned chicken breasts, which cost less. So it's like $2.59 a pound if I get boned chicken breast. So yeah, I'm getting boned chicken breasts as well. All these things I'm doing to save money. Right? Okay. Can't think of anything else I'm doing to save money. Oh yes. So as I said, I work from home all day. I'm at home all day. So what can I do to keep it so that my thermostat, which is set lower, isn't like constantly having to go on and off, and being used because now I'm at home. Because, if you work from in the office or whatever, you can say, hey, you know what? I'll keep my temperature a little lower during the day so it's not kicking in all the time. And then when I come home at night, I'll turn it up a little bit. And then, of course, when you have electricity, there's like certain demand peak hours. And I'll talk about that in a second as well. And so I can't avoid the demand peak hours. I'm in it right now. So what can I do? I said, you know what? I'm just going to get an electric blanket. That's what this is. Electric blanket and a space heater. Now, and it's time for me to turn off my space heater, so I'm going to turn it off. I don't run my space heater 24/7. I don't need to. I just need to get a blast every now and again. And then I have my electric blanket. So I can take my electric blanket and I can put it around me. And my dogs, for some reason, not for some reason, they love the heat. They love to be in the heat of the blankets. And they're okay as it stands, but they just like the heat of my blankets and they like being next to me. So sometimes all three of us will be under this blanket. And that helps me to save a little bit of money, so I'm not having to rely on my air conditioning, my heating unit having to be on higher all day long. I can try to stay within like peak times as well. Now, the other thing that I'm going to recommend that you do, if you have not done this already, is log into your website for your where you receive your power. You want to log into them. If you have gas, then you have to go to gas as well. But you want to find out what are the peak hours and what are the peak rates. Because here's what I did find out is like, oh, there's, of course, the cheapest time where you can run electricity is like overnight. So it's like 11 p.m. to like 5 a.m. So what do I do when I'm going to do, like, if I'm going to wash my clothes? I start at like 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. Sorry. 11 p.m. I go in and I turn on that washer. And if I have to get to bed, then it's just like, okay, so be it when I get up at 5 in the morning. Because it's not like it goes straight to like peak. But at 5 in the morning, I can get up and then I can put it into the dryer. It's in the dryer for like an hour and 10 minutes tops. And then I'm done. And the peak is, for what you have to pay per kilowatt hours, it's a tiny bit higher. But it's still cheaper than trying to run it during the day. Because I used to be running it during the day. Because I was like, I'm here, I'm working, I might as well do a load of laundry. No. Now I look at when are the off-peak hours. And I've tried to focus on doing, like, if I'm going to cook, do it after peak. Or just do all my cooking at once and then put it in the refrigerator and then all I have to do is warm things up. One of the two. But try to look at your peak hours and then avoid the whole like running everything during peak. You can also unplug things that you're not using. So when I'm not using my coffee maker, my crock pots and all that stuff, unplug it. Because even just plugging it in, there's still going to be a little bit of electricity. But do everything you can to minimize. But when you do that, I also set myself up for budget billing. And originally I did not do it because the budget billing said that I didn't need to do it because they're like, yeah, you save a lot of money. As it is right now, we can't beat that. But then I got my bill last month and I was like, $200. Wait, what? And then when I look at the budget billing, it said, oh yeah, it's only going to be $150 if you enroll in budget billing. Okay, so clearly they've adjusted the peak or the budget billing to be less than what I paid. So I went ahead and I put myself on budget billing. So it's going to save me like $50 a month. And I know it'll wash out because at some point when it gets a bit warmer out, then I will not be using my heater as much. It just won't be kicking in because I'll be able to keep the temperature as it should be. But yeah, set that up. And then here's what else I do. I set up an alarm where I can get on my other phone here. I can get an alert. Let me see. And I said, okay, So I said, this is what the kilowatts per hour is that I'd like to be my threshold. And for me, it's 55 kilowatts per hour. And if I exceed for the day, my daily energy usage as however many kilowatt hours, send me an alert if I go over 55. So every day that I've gone over 55, every day that I've gone over 55, I've gotten an alarm. And then that lets me know, like, hey, I need to either cut it out or I need to be, like, aware that there's might be a bigger bill coming. So, like, yesterday, my energy usage was 100 kilowatt hours, but it was like 13 degrees outside. So, yeah, it's going to be on. So I got one for Monday, I got one for Sunday, I got one for Saturday, Friday, Thursday, I've been getting one Wednesday, so Friday the 10th, so nothing on the 11th, nothing on the 12th, nothing on the 13th, nothing on the 14th, and then I started getting daily alerts on the 15th, 16th, And it would say like, hey, your daily energy usage was 58 kilowatt hours, which exceeds the 55 kilowatt hour threshold that you set. So I know like that's okay. But then the next day says your daily energy usage was 82 kilowatt hours, which exceeds the 55 kilowatt hour threshold you set. And I'm just like, that's a lot. And I knew that yesterday was such a cold day. It was like 13 degrees highs at its high. Then it says your energy usage was 100 kilowatt hours, which exceeds the 55 kilowatt hour threshold you set. So these are just things that I need to be aware of, because I have to be aware that, when is my bill going higher? Can I do anything to kind of like bring it back down? And then I'll like do things like, okay, let me make sure this is unplugged. Let me make sure this is turned off. Okay, maybe what I'll do is stay up. If I put my stuff in my laundry in the washer at 11 o'clock, maybe I will stay up till 12 and then put everything into the dryer and then go to bed. What are the things I can do to kind of minimize the impact of this impending power bill that's coming up? Okay. So these are things that I'm doing to save money or to make money, one or the other. The last thing I'm going to suggest, and this is just a suggestion, I don't know if this is about making money or spending money, but I just think it's smart to do. Number one, because it's really cold out, and number two, because you don't know what's going to happen. We're looking at wildfires in California. We're looking at floods in the South, like North Carolina, etc., etc. Now, once my sister contacted me and my mom, and she was like, I need to evacuate. She lived in California. She's like, but I don't have any way of evacuating. I don't have any money, so I didn't have any gas because she didn't have gas in her tank. I'm like, why are you letting your gas tank go all the way down to zero? She's like, I don't have any money. And I was like, but why are you letting your gas tank go all the way to zero? Like to nothing. She didn't have enough gas to drive to like a hotel or anything. And so she was just freaking out, didn't know what to do. And I was just like, okay, well, we ended up somehow getting in touch with somebody who's a friend who's able to who was a friend of mine that lived in the area. Like somehow it was like a miracle. And was able to get her money so that she could gas up and get out of there. But it always made me think that it is not smart to ever let your gas go below a certain amount in your gas tank. Number one, I just don't think it's good for the car. Number two, if it's cold, I still don't think it's good for the car. Number three, if you have an emergency, have you ever seen those lines of people who are trying to get gas? And there's a line that's going all the way, that's just nuts. And I'm like, dang, I mean, I get that, I just don't understand how people can't be prepared. So what did I do? What I told my sister was, and this is what I do, is fill your tank all the way to the top with gas. And then when you're driving it, as soon as you get to the halfway point, it's time to fill all the way up to the top again. Don't ever work from, I'm going to have my tank at half empty and drive it all the way down to nothing and then have to fill it all the way back up. That costs a lot of money. Now, theoretically, it's still going to cost you the same money, but the pain is a whole lot less if you have to do half a tank to get to a full tank, and you don't have the mental pain of wondering if you're going to be able to make it from point A to point B. So what are you going to do? The smart thing to do is to make sure you always have gas in your car. And then you are limited on how much you have to put into that car. When the tank gets to half full, coffee's going to fill it all the way back up. And it's back on full. Okay. The only time when I let it go down is if I'm driving a really long distance. When I was driving 4 or 5 states over to go see my family. I had to wait for it to get down to a certain point because it would have killed me to have to stop every time my gas tank gets to the halfway point. And I was just like, look, I just can't do it. It's just too much stopping for gas. I need to keep going because I need to do a 12-hour drive. So that was my only exception. But if it was an emergency, oh yeah, I would start full and I would just keep on driving. And when I got to a halfway point where I knew it was halfway, I'd be looking for a gas station and pulling off and then filling up if it was an emergency. But what I'm going to recommend that you do is just always make sure that your gas is on full and no less than half. No less. Because if you have to, for some reason, go a long distance that you didn't anticipate due to some kind of emergency or disaster or whatever, you don't have to wonder if you're going to have enough gas to get there. I don't have to worry. I filled up my tank. And in part, I filled up my tank because the store where I go to gives me reward points. And sometimes they do like ×3 rewards, ×2 rewards for gas. So when I buy stuff, I know that I'm actually getting points. And then once I get to, I think, like 100 points or something like that, I can save up to $1 a gallon. So I'm like, okay. So I never spend those points on like, oh yeah, $20 worth of groceries. I use it for gas. And at that point, if I'm going to do that, and I'm doing like a long distance thing, then I go ahead and I let my gas go down, and then I might go past halfway on that one. But generally, I don't do that. I generally will honestly just start it at full, drive it to halfway, and then fill it back up. And then I'm not spending so much money at the pump, and the pain is a lot less. Okay. Oh, these are tips that I'm just giving out for, again, save money, make money, put yourself into a good frame of mind. Make yourself feel like, okay, I've got food in the refrigerator, I've got food in the freezer, I'm taking care of my dogs, I don't have to worry about them. I'm decluttering so I can make sure that I don't have a cluttered mind because I have cluttered space. I'm making sure that if I need to run, I can run someplace and have enough gas to get there. I'm staying aware of like things that are happening. I don't watch the news. I don't have a TV, first of all. And second of all, traditional news drives me crazy. So I get all my stuff from pundits on YouTube. And there's few trusted resources that I believe in. But when I did know about that bird flu thing, I sure did infiltrate these Facebook pages. I'm out here on these chicken streets infiltrating these Facebook pages for chickens, for chicken growers. And I'm like finding out what's the good news on chickens. So I can make sure, I got a scratch, sorry. So I can make sure that I know what's going on at all times. I didn't get caught off guard by chickens prices going up and by egg prices going up. Nope. My freezer's full, stocked up. Okay. All right. Do you have any ideas on things that you can do to save a little bit of money? Now, I'm going to try to remember, but there's a mystery shop. I don't know if you've ever done mystery shopping, but you may want to think about doing that as well. And I'll try to find some mystery shopping that is good. Sometimes you get paid. Sometimes you just get to keep the products that you buy. Like they'll say, oh, we need you to go to Nike Town and we need you to buy, or we need you to test out our staff and ask them specific questions or be difficult. Then make the purchase and we'll reimburse you for those shoes. It's like, score. Okay. So I've done a few mystery shops in the past myself. And it's a good way for you to earn like a free trip to a restaurant or like a free product or to earn a few extra dollars. Earn $10, earn $15. Go to Cheesecake Factory, have a meal, see how our wait times are. between the time you make the order to the time it comes. Things like that. So actually, that's something else. I'll just add it to the list now. Google it. And then before you start to sign up for those things, look them up. Do review. Like, just what I do is I look up the name of a company. And then I always, like, look for the name of that company and then put, like McDonald's reviews. And then I can look up the reviews for the customers and for their employees that work there. And I can find out, like, what are people saying? Because what if I find out that this company doesn't pay well, or that the mystery shopper people, like, I bought the tennis shoes and they never reimbursed me, or something like that, or go on Glassdoor, and and you may find out from Glassdoor that this Wish Up place that I told you about, because I haven't done a ton of research. I just Google, see it, looks good, okay, I'll let y'all know. But you might go on Glassdoor and find out, hey, guess what? They're not, like, giving out very much work, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I won't use Wish Up. So, yeah. On that note, those are my pearls of wisdoms for all my coffee beans that are out there. My coffee bean queens. I hope you all were able to get something from this today. And again, I'm going to ask you if you can take that time to like the video. Subscribe to my channel. Share this with your other friends. Like, this is a channel for Black women. We're trying to do something for ourselves. We're trying to find a safe space. I'm not saying that we don't need other people, because we definitely need people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world, right? But we also need to find a way for us to be able to have a safe space, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, And so what can we do? And I'm just kind of giving some tips and ideas. Uplift, help out, and I'm just, again, I don't know what this channel is turning into just yet, but I promise at some point it's going to become very helpful with people who are like-minded, who want to do something similar. Not sure what it's going to be yet, but I'm going to try to give as much knowledge as I can in the meantime. If you have anything that you'd like to add, or you have some suggestions or tips or whatever, put it in the comments. Let everybody else read about it. All right, so Friday, which is tomorrow, January 24th, 2025, probably in the evening. And you know what I'll do? I'll just say, because I got to walk the dogs or whatever. I also have class. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what time. It depends on when class lets out. But let's just say somewhere maybe around 7:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to make another video. And that's the one where I'm going to talk about how to make these taco wraps that I like. Because again, like I said, I did taco wraps one year. I did it with lettuce leaves. But you can do it with the taco wraps that I'm talking about. And you could also do it with the lettuce leaves. And I was exercising after about 3 months of doing this. I was also exercising. But between exercising and eating right and using these taco wraps is kind of like my staple part, and drinking a lot of water. I was at the point where I was drinking a gallon of water a day. That took time to build to. But I'd lost 80 pounds in a year. And it was the healthiest I felt in the longest time. And I want to get back to that because I gained the weight back from just injuries and just my gym closing from COVID, and then just not having the money to get back into it, and not having the time to get back into it, and all this other stuff that you make excuses for. And so I've gained that weight back, probably plus more, because your body set point, when you're a big girl like me, when you're a sturdy gal, you're a big girl, big boned, when you thick, your body's set point wants to stay that way. It's safe, and so it's hard to fight it. And so I'm going to have my cooking session where I'm going to show you, and I gave the ingredients, so you have to look at the video before that I did on Monday, so that you can get the ingredient list. And I'd like to show you how to make these taco wraps. And the video is going to be about an hour and a half because I'm going to kind of talk you through it and whatnot. And if you're a vegetarian, I already gave the vegetarian alternative. You have to go to the Monday video and look at that alternative, the vegetarian stuff that you need, or vegan, because you can even do this if you're vegan. You can do it in completely vegan, taco wrap. You are good. And so I'm going to cook on Friday and show it to you and share it with you. And I hope that helps you, because I'm telling you, it's delicious. And you can just sit there in an hour and a half, you can make an entire batch, and then just put that batch away in the freezer or in the refrigerator, depending, and then just pull from it and then warm things up and then just do a quick cook, real quick, and then you're done. So we're going to do that on Friday. So I hope you all are here for this. In the meantime, I am ending this video now. This is Koffee, and my channel is Koffee Spills the Tea. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends as well. Everybody have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.